Hello there. Today I want to speak on 16 things preachers won't tell you about themselves, but I believe you need to know. The fact of the matter is that the life of a pastor is an intricate one. So many people in church erroneously think that pastor is God. The pastor has solutions to all challenges of all church members. The pastor has no troubles of his own and should minister to them all the days of his life. This is not so. I want to share with you some truths about what pastors go through, which they will not ordinarily tell you. However, you need to know them so that at all times you can uphold your pastor in prayer. When I'm talking about pastor, or when I use the word preacher, I am talking of people who were called by God. I am not talking of people who found themselves on the altar because they were dismissed in their offices or because they have nothing else to do. I am talking of people who left lucrative businesses, people who left lucrative offices and answered the call of God, not those who go back home and there's nothing else to do. Then they pick their Bible and they will say, "Oh, the Lord is calling me. The Lord is calling me. Let me go and establish a church." No, these are not the people I'm talking about. There are so many kinds of pastors. There are different kinds of people all over the place. We need to be careful. Therefore, when I'm talking about pastors, I am talking of people whom God told you, "I have called," and you are under them. Number one, the pastor is human. He has his challenges, pains, his low moments, the times he weeps, times he needs help, times he needs counseling, times he looks up to God for assistance, just like you. Number two, the pastor is often the most betrayed of all men. If you see it with some pastors, you will hear tales upon tales of people they have relied on, assisted, yet they betrayed them. Number three, the challenges of the pastor is compounded by the fact that he is not expected to openly do things like others. He cannot openly complain or murmur or abuse or mix or weep or mourn. He is expected to hide his pains while ministering to people in pains. A pastor was to minister at a crusade. His two children died in a motor accident on their way to the crusade. The pastor still ministered for 3 days at the crusade as if nothing happened. There is this story of a pastor who lost his wife, and then a church member just lost her son. The pastor had to leave his wife and attend to the church member who lost his son. On getting there, the church member started shouting, "Pastor, you are just coming. Pastor, you are just coming. I lost my son. You are just coming." He didn't know what the pastor is going through. It was much later the lady found out that, look, that same moment he lost her son, the pastor also lost his wife. But the pastor, because of the calling of this ministry, had to leave his family to attend to this woman. Please remember always that pastors are human beings. They also have their challenges. And remember, the first line of every pastor is his family. If his family does not work, you will be one of the people who will mock him. You will tell him, your pastor, after all, you don't even have a family. A pastor whose family is in disarray. You will be the first person to mock the pastor. Remember that pastors are not gods. They are messengers of God Almighty. Treat your pastor with respect. Treat your pastor with compassion. You need to uphold the pastor in prayer. Number four, too often, pastors are the first line to give help and the last to receive. Unfortunately, This mindset has left them unable or unwilling to receive the love, support, and encouragement they so desperately need. Number 5, they are on duty 24/7. There are 24 hours in a day, translating to about 168 hours in a week. A recent survey showed that most pastors are on pastoral duty for 114 hours per week, or 16 hours every day, praying for callers, the sick, the needy, holding meetings, preaching, counseling, visiting, getting prepared for Sunday service or for every church meeting, reading. Your pastor needs your prayer. Number 6, they often put their personal lives on hold to attend to the needs of members or just anybody at all. You can see why the devil attacked pastor's family sometimes in their absence. They need your prayer. Number 7, pastoring is the most versatile of all professions. I will explain this to you. A banker works in the bank, attending to customers. A doctor in the hospital, attending to the sick. The engineers and the mechanics, they attend to engines. The pilot to the plane. The lecturers to the students and their assignments. Mention the profession. They all have their directions. But do you know something about the pastor? He ministers to them all. When all of them have issues, they run to their pastors. The pastor is expected to know a bit of every profession, to feel their pains and to minister to them. Can you imagine what I'm talking about? Number 8, being a pastor can be lonely. Most pastors have few friends or no active social lives due to the nature of their work. They often combat feelings of isolation and loneliness. It can be pretty difficult for many pastors to have friends within and outside the church because they are always on the spot, closely monitored all the time. Any little mistake, which could come just anytime to any human being, people will shout, pastor, pastor. These are some of the challenges pastors have. Number 9, many pastors have issues at home because their wives do not understand the nature of the job. Most wives see the glamour, not the responsibilities. They want their husband 24/7, but they forget that he has a second, perhaps bigger family. That is the church. Of course, pastors must know that if they don't have a family, they have no ministry. The family of the pastor comes first. Therefore, pastors must know how to balance their ministry and their family. Number 10, pastors have no answers to all your questions and your challenges. He wishes you don't put him under pressure to give answers all of the time. He has a boss who directs him. If the boss does not speak, the pastor cannot speak. He wants you to understand this. Therefore, those pastors who want to kill themselves, those pastors who want to do everything to please church members, they are putting themselves on the line. It is none of your business when God has not spoken. Tell them, God has not spoken to me on this issue. Don't try to find solutions to the problem of every man. You are not the solution doer. God is the solution maker. Listen to him, pastor. Don't put yourself under pressure because of anybody. Number 11, pastors alone cannot do the job. He needs members he could delegate to visit the sick, the widow, the absentees, the disgruntled. It is not possible for your pastor to do all these things at the same time. Only he cannot be running after the sick, the people who do not come to church. He needs good hands. He needs the available. That's why in the ministry, every available hand is better than any professional hand, especially when you are a professional and you are not available. The available hand is good. God will use them. He wants you to understand this. Number 12, he needs a few people who will give him regular but sincere feedback on his sermons and handling of matters. Please, after every Sunday service, it's good to respond to the service by a text message to your pastor. Pastor, you did well today. That sermon touched me. Feedbacks like these always encourage them that they have done the right thing today. Number 13, pastors sure respond fast to loyal and available members. People who respond to him and his ministry. An available illiterate is better than an unavailable professor. Your plenty degrees and wealth means nothing to him if you don't make them available for the use of God through his ministry. Number 14, your pastor cannot be the only person to speak every Sunday. Please know that there are times pastors don't even feel like coming to church. But he has to. Please give him time to rest and to re-energize himself. Pastors want you members to know this. Number 15, on Sundays, your pastor needs to make connections with new members and guests. If you, an old member, needs him, please give him time to first of all minister to the new members, to the new Christians. Let it wait till another time. You are an old member of the church. By now, you should have grown to understand the totems of Christianity. Reach out to him outside the church. Number 16, your pastor needs champions. People who can rise up financially to assist him to meet needs. So many times, pastors experience challenges that often threaten to close down ministries or put them in shame. In times like these, most church members are nowhere to be found. Many pastors are known to have reached into the depth of their personal reserves, sold personal properties to meet up. Pastors alone cannot do it. They need you. I believe you have learned something about the lives of the pastors today. Please help your pastors, not only with prayers, also support your church, support the ministries. Stop treating your pastor as an ambulance. Pastors are not ambulances. Some people, the only time they remember their pastor is when there's trouble, when they need someone to assist them urgently. That's when they will go to them, Pastor, there's a trouble. No. Remember your pastor when you have money. Pastors too can go to Kentucky Fried Chicken. Pastors too can go to Sheraton Hotel. Pastors too can go to any hotel and enjoy themselves. They are human beings. Remember your pastors. Pastors too have mouth. They can eat. I hope you have gained something today. Guess what? This is Mentoring Masterclass. Thank you.